Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. And in this episode, we're going to talk about better event promotion as well as a holistic digital and social media approach for your church and your youth ministry. And this is actually part 2. Part 1 is linked right here at the top of the screen over on another channel because we're doing a massive mashup collab. And I am joined today by my friend Erik with a K. Erik, good morning, bro. How you doing?
Good to see you, Nick. So excited to be on your channel. Love what you're doing, bro. So good.
Yeah, well, if you weren't listening or privy to the conversation that we just clicked stop and now re-record on, we talked through an entire outreach strategy. All right, you gave out a bunch of games, you gave out a full run sheet on how to do a great outreach style event at your church. And one major piece, right, in all of that in churches and in youth ministry is promotion. We want people to come to our event. It's natural. It's a human nature. You know what I mean? And so one of the ways that we're always trying to get people to come to our event is through social media. Is that not a normal strategy? Is that not a normal thought process, Erik, for the average American youth pastor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've totally used social media to promote events for a long time. Yeah.
And is it effective?
I don't see a lot of likes on those posts.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not seeing sharing and whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's just if you look at in the past, a lot of my social media stuff for youth ministry, it tends to be mostly promotional.
Okay.
And watching your channel, one of the things I've learned is that's not a great idea because then it's just promotion and it's not like because I looked at this, I'm going to get 20% off my next event.
Right.
It's just an announcement.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I am trying to steer youth pastors, church communicators away from. Because if we're not careful, we're going to view social media as another announcement channel. And it's really not built for that. And if you treat it that way, it's not going to be incredibly successful. And so you should still get the word out and you can still use social media. But before you do, I want you to tweak and adjust your strategy on it. And so I have 3 ideas for better event promotion for your event, Erik, that we just talked through. The first one is don't post announcements, announcing it on social media. And what I mean by that in particular, because I'm going to get a little nuanced here, is I still think you can and should announce it, but don't just post your graphic that you cooked up on Canva or on Instagram stories or wherever you cooked it up. Don't just post that because you will probably see, as you said, 2, 3, 6 likes on it. And likes aren't the only metric. Get the word across, of course. People will still see it. But you got to think about our habits. Why do you, Erik, get on social media?
I want to be entertained. Yeah. Right? I don't want to catch up with people, but I want to be entertained. It's one of the things I love particularly scrolling through videos, right? Is I want it to be funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're watching this live in the month of August, if you're a download youth ministry, I think it's gold and up or maybe silver and on up. I provided the mystery item for the members and it was a free ebook on how to crush your social media. And so one of the concepts in there, and if you're not a member or you missed the download perk, I'll drop a link in there. You can get it for just a few bucks down below in the description. But one of the stats I included is that reels or short form vertical video, TikTok style videos account for, get this, 90% of the internet's traffic. And so you're right, we get on social media to be entertained or even to be inspired, maybe learn some stuff, but we don't get on there to catch up on our announcements, to catch up on what's the latest on our church. So stop posting static announcement graphics and start posting the types of content that people get on social media for, i.e. short form, vertical based video. If you make it less than 60 seconds, you can post it on any of your social platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube Shorts. And so if you are going to post about an event, I would recommend 2 styles of posts. So there's one, it's like the CAPCUT meme. Have you seen those before, Erik? The different CAPCUT style memes?
I absolutely love it. I haven't really gotten into using them yet much.
Yeah.
But I love using that, like the one where the guy who is the Mandalorian, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Where he's laughing.
Yep. Like
really hard with that other guy. Like I love that meme where you can put stuff in the background, right? Because it's kind of green screen concept. So good.
Yeah. So find a way to catch the wave of a trending kind of like CapCut meme, and if you don't know, ask one of your teenagers. They'll help you out.
Speaking of CapCut, like that's something. Now I use Final Cut to do most of my video editing.
Yep.
But when I'm doing stuff with my phone, like I do, like screen, like words on the screen, all that stuff, I use CapCut all the time. So last year I decided to invest in paying for it. It's a yearly fee. I think it's like $75 typically. They almost always have some sort of save a certain percentage off. So I paid $50 last year. I just got a reminder that my subscription's almost out. So they're giving me a 36% off of the yearly fee. So grab those discounts when you can. But for me, it's been a totally worth it expense because I use it all the time.
Yeah. And I don't pay for it. My youth ministry doesn't pay for it. So I'm still using the free version, and you can still get a lot out of CapCut, even if you don't want to go the paid for route. So the other one, the other idea I have, and these are like on the rise right now within churches and stuff, are the like transition videos.
Yes.
And I don't know the other way to describe them, but essentially it starts with a video, like a popular video of some sort. And the one I've seen a lot recently is the guy running away from like a bull in the streets. It must be like a running of the bulls thing in Spain or whatever. And he gets speared in the back. And so on screen, you see this guy just get speared right in the back and just fly forward. And then it cuts to your church or another church and some dude or girl getting, I guess, jumping or thrown into like the row of chairs. And then they like, get up all like hurt, and they turn around, look at the camera, and they invite to church. And so there are, a bunch of different ones of those. And I discovered there's so many more than I even thought, because I got on one of my accounts and I started just kind of creating a library of them, sharing them over to my church account. And the more I shared them, the more the algorithm kept feeding me those. And so now I've gone around with students and stuff, and I'm like, hey, film this, walk into this chair, or dive into these couches, or, we'll spill. One of the other ones, there's like a baby puking on screen, and you see all the puke come out, and then the milk dumps into the cup, and you hear the little splash, and then someone takes a drink of it, and it's like, there's always free coffee at church, something like that. Like,
oh, so gross.
So gross, but so funny, and really popular right now. And so that's another way to invite someone to your event, but again, in a way that leans into what social media is built for and made for.
Yeah, I love the one where somebody's running and jumping, does like a cannonball into a pool, and then the next scene is like sugar cube dropping into a cup, and it's like bloop.
Yeah, like just much smaller. Funny. Yeah, they're just funny, and again, you can still get the word out, but with like a little tweak, right? A little adjustment. Don't just post your cooked up Canva graphic, but include faces on social media, include entertainment style elements on social media. So that's my first kind of point. Do you have anything else to add there before we?
I just say you just said it. Include faces. Like, students love to see themselves.
Yep.
I think that's brilliant. The more you can get students in there instead of just you, same face over and over, talking head kind of thing all the time, I think that's brilliant. I love that, dude.
Yeah, and in addition to my DYM ebook, I got one here on my channel as well. It's free. It's down in the show notes. It will lay out this whole thing. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, go check that out. My second idea.
I just want to support that, by the way, because I've downloaded that. That's been super, super helpful to me. You give so much inside of that ebook, bro. I absolutely love it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to help churches do better and get the word out. What's up, everyone? Nick Clason here, hopping into the middle of this episode to say that as I was editing it, I got this idea that I just wanted to give you my top 6 favorite transition videos and my top 6 favorite CapCut templates. So if you hit up the link down below in the description in YouTube, It will give you a Word document. It will just, the form will drop you into a Dropbox folder. Download that Word document, and it will give you 6 links to Instagram videos, 6 links to CapCut videos, as well as websites that you can use once you post those to either TikTok or to Instagram, that you can download directly from that social channel and then repost it without the TikTok or Instagram Reels watermark out to Facebook or YouTube or wherever else you want to cross-post your things. Hope it's helpful to use these in your next event promotion. Without any further ado, back to the rest of the episode. That's the whole goal of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing better, getting the word out, write better emails, people. Like, if you're anything like me or any of the churches I've been in, we've done things like, such and such church weekly student ministry update. And then in that, of course, you're like announcing your back to school event. You're announcing your costume party around Halloween time. You're announcing your Friendsgiving event. But nobody who doesn't, if they don't open the email, they don't read that content. They don't see it. And so it misses them. And so a new idea I had, and this is relevant because it just happened to me this week at our church in our children's ministry. They were having an event I didn't know about. And the subject is, my church's kids ministry update. And I never read them. Guilty. All right. I work there. I'm a dad of kids in the ministry, but I never read them because I figure there's really nothing new in there. But there was something new, but I didn't open it. And you can look at it two ways. I'm to blame or they're to blame. And most churches will be like, I'm to blame, because they look back at open rates and they see that they're really low and they're like, well, you don't know what's going on because you don't open it. All of that is true. Guilty as charged. However, know this, most open rates, like a good open rate for like a business is like in the 20 to 30%. And so if you're a church, you're probably higher than that. But if you start putting some of what's going on, even in the subject of the email, even if people don't open it, then if their eyes ever glance through their inbox and they ignore your emails, but they still take a glance or a gander over at the subject, they'll at least be aware of what's going on in your youth ministry. And so you can prevent your outreach event to your parents and to any of the students who are subscribed to your email list with just better subjects.
And Nick, inside of that, when they open the email, because I've been guilty of this. I've been on emails from churches that it feels like, you've got a template, which I think is good to have a template so you don't have to keep recreating something every single week. But sometimes it can feel like I've seen all this information every single week. So I don't even bother opening. Yeah. Anything you can do to kind of freshen inside of the email?
Yeah, and you don't want to get clickbaity or sensational, right? But the more interesting your subject is, the more prone people are to open it. Keep in mind too that people want to just like social media, they want to interact with people. So if they're getting it from your ministry, like they may be a bought-in parent or student that wants to know what's going on in your ministry, but that's not enticing to them to correspond with the brand of your ministry. Yeah. So send it from your name, send it from your senior pastor's name, like those types of things. You will see an uptick in engagement in that way if it feels personal, like they're getting an email from a person as opposed to getting an email from an organization.
So good.
Yeah. The third thing, and I don't want to belabor it because we hit it in your episode, so go check that out. But really, I think the key to getting more people to your event beyond just promoting it on social media is really like creating a culture of invite, where students from your church will invite their friends to your church. Yeah. And you got to build that culture. And over time, that's going to take time. So if you're brand new, like just keep working it. Keep working the soil. Keep doing the thing. Create a safe space that your students know they can trust you. If they bring a friend to an event, you're not going to do something weird on them. And you got to do that a few times to prove to your students that you're going to do that. But then eventually they'll start to realize that like, oh, this is going to be a safe place and a safe event for me to bring my friend to. And they will start bringing students. And you know how it is. Like a word of mouth invite is so much more valuable than a static graphic that they scroll across on social media.
Yeah, I think so. If you run lame events, that word's going to get out too, right? So it's got to be a good event. And that invite culture, I think, is an interesting conversation. And I just want to say a real quick thing about it, Nick.
Yeah.
I remember when I came to a church and we had this annual event that had been happening for a long time. And the high schoolers were coming because it's really like competitive experience. So there was like students were showing up no matter what. Mm-hmm. But the middle schoolers, we hardly had any middle schoolers that were showing up. And so we talked about that, like, why is that? But there wasn't a culture of invitation. Mm-hmm. So that meant we had to do groundwork within the youth ministry mm-hmm. to go, okay, there's an importance for our students that come regularly to understand they need to be inviting their friends, because this is an easy, open opportunity for them to be able to share their faith with their friends by letting somebody else kind of set the groundwork for it. They show up to something fun, then they have this conversation, then in the car ride home or whatever, hey, mm-hmm. I know we had a lot of fun with some highlights, blah, blah, it was so fun, we're telling your parents, whatever. But what was something that you heard the youth pastor talk about this? What'd you think about that?
Yeah.
And then having that conversation, so setting them up for success, if you will, rather than just show up and then do it and then don't ever talk about it again.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's just going to take time. And if students are not bringing their friends to events, then maybe ask them why they're not and be prepared for the gut check of their honesty. But they'll be on. If they're honest with you, that is just absolutely gold information that you have to like grab a hold of, take to the bank, and then try and figure out what you need to do to create more of a culture of invite.
So good.
Well, and here's the thing, Erik, right? So like we promoted this event. We did a few like fun Instagram reels. We did a few different like emails, and we got students inviting students. But my recommendation is more than just like a blitz, like a marketing blitz on your social media for your upcoming back to school bash, your upcoming Halloween party, your upcoming fill in the blank, whatever event. Like you should be doing this on a holistic strategy, and in the ebook that I referenced earlier, I lay out a very detailed and very like high level strategy. Like it's a high bar, and it's often, and it's like a full-time job. But recently, episode 106, I'll link it down below in the show notes, I scaled it back. And that's what I also put in like my DYM ebook as well. And I said, hey, listen, if you're just getting going, like focus on 3 times a week. And I think 3 times a week is much more attainable for youth pastors. And I would guess, and I would love you to speak into this, like I would guess that most youth pastors can look around and see other social media accounts that are doing well and want to do that, but are just thinking, bro, I don't have the time. And I would imagine that that's the boat that most youth pastors are in. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Absolutely. I think of that for just myself. Like if I'm going, man, 5 days a week, there's so much to do. 3 days a week feels a little more comfortable. Yeah. I'm a big fan of like batch recording where I'm just going to take an hour on Monday and I'm going to record these 3 videos. Yeah. And then take the time. I mean, it does take time, right? But like some of those CapCut meme videos, that's not much time at all. You're just kind of putting the information in and taking something that's already been used, and on the green screen, you drop your information in. Like that's more simple. But I mean, dude, you're crushing it with how you do it with your youth ministry. I love like the drafting videos and the seven questions to try to figure out what is it I'm thinking of. Those kind of things I think are so brilliant. It takes some time, but if you batch it, record it, do it all in one day. Like I know on Instagram you can schedule videos to go at specific times and dates and all that stuff. Yep. So it takes time, but I think it's important, and there has to be a belief in the value of it for you to actually do it. You're not going to see the return on your investment overnight.
That's it.
That's again another time, just like the invite culture. It's going to take time to build your channel and students getting on it. But you get those students involved with it, both on screen and owning the shooting of the videos and editing, because you're going to find students that like to do that. Even if they're decent
Yeah.
You can do some training with them.
Yep.
Give somebody some responsibility and go, hey, I want you to take on one of these a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And let them own it.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what we've done. So I got it up and going all by myself, proof of concept, sustainability, all these things. But now I've started recruiting other students, you know, and to your point, we just batch record. So anytime it's a Wednesday night, we have a 4-week strategy now. So 1 week we'll do those draft style videos. If you're watching here on YouTube, you can see some examples. And we'll film as many of those as we can with as many students as we can. So I like to walk out of a night with anywhere from 4 to 6 of these different style of videos. Then the next week we'll do our 7 question style video, and same kind of concept, as many students as we can, as many as we have time for. We'll knock them out and, you know, get 4 to 6 in the hopper to edit later. We'll do the next week, I do like a man on the street style, so walking around with a microphone interviewing kids or whatever. And so that's getting out of our room that we film in and more like on the streets. You can kind of see what our youth ministry looks like and everything. And then the last one is we'll just walk around and we'll do those transition style invite videos. So, hey, this week we'll do the one where the kid's getting rammed by a bull. Next week we'll do the one with the baby puking or whatever. And you do a few of those, we got last night, 2 nights ago, we got 6 of them, you know, in the hopper. And so, and I'm not doing that. Like, I got it set up. I got all the infrastructure built, but now I've handed it off to one of my students. And so he's doing it while I'm running the youth ministry program, out playing basketball on the courts, and he's somewhere else in the building filming these videos. And at the end of the night, he hands me the camera, I pop out the SD card, and we're off to the races. And the good news in all of that, right, is that you can train up students and they want to help with it. I mean, we look at it like the Growing Young study and Fuller Institute and all these things. Like, key chain leadership is the key to sustained faith. So it shouldn't just be you as a youth pastor, like cooking all these things up. Like, bring about your leaders, bring about your volunteers, and bring about your students, man. Like, they want to help. So let them.
And a side bonus of that, you start handing some of the stuff off to students. Some of them are going to get like an excitement for doing that, and it could build into something even more. I had a student who I taught him how to do some PowerPoint stuff. This is like early on, and then I showed him how to shoot and edit video.
Yeah.
He went into marketing as a business.
Yeah.
Like, all because he learned that stuff in youth group in middle school.
Yeah. And the principle is transferable beyond just social media, right?
Yep.
Like, you might get kids that are not interested in that, but they're interested in other things. And isn't our job, as the Apostle Paul puts it, to train the saints and equip them for works and acts of service? It's not our job to do all the works and acts of service. And so in the same vein, while social media feels like this maybe foreign kind of concept, punch fear in the face, just get started. And like I said, link down below, episode 106, I'll detail and outline how to do all of that and just get those steps taken.
Love it.
Anything else, Erik, before we wrap this week up?
I just say, own the social media world. Just make a decision to do it. Like John Acuff is a guy I love to read and listen to. He talks about the hardest part about running is putting your shoes on. Once you put your shoes on, you're committing. He actually, when he's going to run in the morning, he puts his whole running outfit on the floor the night before. Yeah. And then when you put your shoes on, that means you're going to actually run. So I'd say pick up your phone and, sketch out a few ideas and then go actually do it. Yeah. And then you start getting into a rhythm, and it becomes a lot easier once you get into a rhythm of it.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Well, hey, everyone. So glad that you made it all the way to the end. If you haven't, go check out part 1. Erik's got a bunch of freebies. If you're in youth ministry, you're definitely going to want those. Those are premium level freebies. But until next time, and as always, stay hybrid.
See you.